Hey guys, so today we're shooting from the scenic location that is Liam's room. And Liam should be good because I'm armed with cookies and toys. So I should be able to keep him interested. So his due date was September 9th. By the time September 9th came, I was just super frustrated. I was so big, I was so fat, I was so uncomfortable, and I was just like, please come already. And up until that point, I had had no contractions, no changes in anything. 2 weeks prior, I had been dilated to a 2, and I hadn't effaced, whatever it is. The cervix hadn't thinned out any, but I was dilated to a 2, and that was a number that I could cling on to. So I was like, yes, we're making progress. So I go the following week, which was 2 days before my due date, and no change. I was still dilated to a 2. She said that he was a little bit lower, but that was about it. And I was so frustrated because I had been doing everything. I mean, I was the queen of Google. I had done everything I possibly could do to bring on labor. I had been bouncing on my ball. I'd been going on tons of walks. I mean, I felt like I was doing everything I could be doing in the book. So my due date came, and I told Mike, I'm coming with you to work, because he has a kiosk in a mall, but the mall is like 2 hours away. But I said, I don't feel any different, nothing's changed, obviously nothing's happening, he's obviously not coming today, so I'm just gonna go with you to the mall, and then while you're working, I can just walk around and hopefully we can get something going. So I'm getting ready that morning, and I get this sharp, tight pain all through here, and I'm like, and it kind of makes me stop, and I'm like, but it's nothing crazy, it's nothing insane, because you get all kinds of weird pains and discomforts during pregnancy. So I kind of blew it off, but I was like, I'm kind of joking around. I'm like, hey, I think something might be happening, you know? And he's like, really? Like, he's still like kind of scared and everything. But at this point, I don't feel like either one of us had accepted the fact that, hey, a baby is actually coming. We go on with our day, we go to his business, I don't want to say the city, but we go, and I'm walking around, and almost immediately, like as soon as we get there, I get the tightening. Like, I've read about it on Google a million times, but until you experience it, and it's like the tightening, and it's hard like a basketball, and you're like, I was like, oh, that's weird, what? But it wasn't painful, it wasn't crazy, and they were coming like every 12 minutes, sometimes they'd go away and it would come every 20 minutes, and they didn't hurt or anything. So I was like, geez, well, if this is what a contraction is, like, I'm good. So I keep going on through the day, I'm walking around and stuff. Mike gets me some lunch, and the contractions are still coming, and then I haven't felt Liam, so I start getting really worried, and I call my doctor, and she's like, oh, it should be fine. If you feel nervous about it though, come in, which I should have just gone in. I should not have been 2 hours away from. So now it's about 4 p.m. and the pain is getting stronger. It definitely is getting stronger. And I'm starting to get to the point that I'm like, hey, maybe something really is going on. And I was like, we probably should do something, but I'm waiting it out because, I mean, they always say, oh, first time moms, it takes them longer. And I've read, because I wanted to go all natural, and I was like, and I've always read how labor at home as long as you can, because once you get to the hospital, they'll want to do all this unnecessary intervention. Oh yeah? Ooh, Nums, it's a cookie. Some cookies. Num, num, nums, cookies. 5:30 comes around, and I'm like, Mike, I think we need to go. I think there's a problem. I think this is happening. And he's like, he starts freaking out. So we get in the car, and we start driving back. We have a 2-hour drive. And it is like Liam knows that this is a bad time because it's like as soon as I close that door into the car, like it turns it up a notch. And by a notch, I mean a ton of freaking notches. And I am in so much pain. I'm just like grabbing onto the seat and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm just like thinking, why did I do this? Like, what did I get myself into? We're racing down the freeway. I'm like, Michael, get me to the hospital. Ah, you know, freaking out. And then we're almost back, almost by the hospital. And I remember Penny, and Penny is our dog, and she is like, she's more family than she is dog. And especially before we had him, I treated her like a little princess. But she had been at home all day long. She'd been in there for almost 5-6 hours. And I was like, dude, we have to go home because I'm about to give birth to a baby and she needs to go outside so she can pee. And he's like looking at me like, woman, are you crazy? So we go home, we get Penny, and he runs and takes her out. And at this point, I am so lightheaded, I can't even function. I'm in so much pain. Like, these contractions are coming wave upon wave upon wave. And I know those women that are like, oh, you'll feel so empowered after you give birth naturally and blah, blah, blah. I get it, dude. If you went through that 110%, no pain meds, no nothing, you better feel like a warrior, because I labored for 2 or 3 hours. I mean, I labored all day, but I labored like hardcore for probably 2 or 3 hours, and that pain was nuts. So if you do decide to go all natural, power to you, woman. Power to you. If you do decide to be normal and get an epidural, power to you all the same. We're home with Penny, taking Penny out. I get the most horrible rush of pain and I am bleeding everywhere. And so now I'm panicking. I'm like, now we have a problem. So we hurry, we get to the hospital. They hurry and let us in. It's after hours, so they put us in triage. And she's monitoring my contractions. Contractions are coming one on top of another. And so I can tell that the nurses are starting to get a little worried. But it's like there's no breaks in between contractions. And I'm just like dying here. And they keep checking me, no progress, no progress. And I'm still dilated to a 2. So I can't even get an epidural if I wanted one. It's bad at this point. So they decide to try to speed up my labor and they give me Pitocin, which that just like increases contractions. So I don't know how that made any sense, but I mean, my contractions are still one on top of the other. I'm bleeding like crazy and I can tell that there's kind of a problem. And I'm getting this horrible like back pain, back labor. I'm getting this horrible back labor, and every time one of those contractions hits me, I have to go forward because it hurts so bad. I physically can't fight it. And every time I do, his heartbeat is dropping like crazy. I mean, it was not a good condition. And then all of a sudden my water breaks and blood just pours out everywhere. And that's when they said, like, I have so much more respect for medical teams and for doctors and for what they can do to save lives, because it turns out that I had a placental abruption. Those nurses in triage, I mean, they handled things so professionally. Before this, I had my birth plan. I was going all natural, no way around it. I was like telling my husband, even if I can't talk, I'm in so much pain, just tell them my one thing is I'm not having a C-section. I will not have a C-section. I don't want one. But it's amazing when your baby's life is on the line. There's not even a question. There's not even a moment of like, I wonder if I should. You do whatever they say is best, and I'm so glad that I listened to them, and I'm so glad that they were so professional and handled things the way they did, because within a matter of minutes, they had me all prepped, ready for surgery, wheeled me into the other room. They had an anesthesiologist. Luckily mine, they didn't put me under. They still had time to do the spinal tap. Did the spinal tap and had everything set up, and before I knew it, my little boy was here, healthy and happy. And so if anybody ever tells you that you're not a real mom because you had a C-section, they're full of it. It was not easy. It really wasn't. Always important to have your birth plan. I agree with that 110%. Know your rights, know what kind of birth you want to have. I mean, have your plan. Be aware there's nothing wrong with being educated, but at the end of the day, remember that you have a trained staff that is looking out for you and your baby. And so I'm so grateful for all the healthcare and the people that took care of me at San Jacinto Methodist Hospital. I have to give them a shout out because they were absolutely incredible. We're healthy, we're happy. Huh. We're healthy and happy. Say thank you. Say thank you, San Jacinto Methodist Hospital. Thanks for saving my life. And side note, if you do get an epidural or you have to get a C-section or anything like that, I'm telling you, you're worried about a needle or something like that, do not be worried about that, because by the time that you're experiencing the kind of pain that contractions bring on, the needle is literally going to be the least of your worries. Yeah, so I know it's not my usual story time, but I definitely wanted to share that because I'm in a ton of Facebook mom groups, and I've had a lot of women that want to know that, so deal with it. It's my channel, do what you want to do. I can't help, because I'm loving you. Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I put out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday is story time and Thursday is Happy Thursday, so it's like a ridiculous skit. This Happy Thursday I have a video and I'm rating the worst piercings ever / body modifications. Call it what you will, but be sure to check that out. Woo, woo. He's a little baby. Woo, woo. He's a baby boy. Yeah, it's my channel. Do what you wanna do.